Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari of Arizona is one of the oversight Democrats who attended the hearing and signed that letter, and she joins me now. Obviously, I think Democrats are going to be skeptical of any Trump cabinet member, and he did seem to be not the most forthcoming. Why call for his resignation?
Think of all of the people that we have conducted interviews with so far throughout the Epstein investigation. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary of the United States of America, was the most blatantly deceptive, the most obviously covering up for, the lies that he has already told to the American people. And I think we're all just so sick and tired of how disgustingly corrupt the Trump administration is, and the fact that people in my district, the vast majority of them, and the majority of Americans across this country are just so sick of this corruption as they take away people's health care. And then Howard Lutnick just sits in front of us behind closed doors without being on video and just lies over and over and over again. I read back parts of the transcript and I was just disgusted all over again myself.
I have not read the entire transcript, but I was going through a bunch of it today, and he is very, I'll say, like squirrely and evasive. If that's a fair or charitable read, was that how it felt in the room?
Yes, and that's why, I actually wasn't that concerned for this one, that it wasn't on video compared to some of the others, because it's so clear even when you read the back and forth that he's lying and that he's uncomfortable. And it's just clear from the responses. I mean, whether you look at our dialogue where I asked him about whether or not in the year 2012, when he went to Epstein's Island, whether he had heard about the 2008 Alex Acosta sweetheart plea deal and the many accusations and the charges against Epstein, he said no, even though this was his next door neighbor and they ran in the same circles. Whether you look at other members' exchanges with him and you read them and how he takes back the fact that he had claimed in October of 2025 that he believed that Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed people. And he's taken that back. And I think that's one of the pieces that we need to look at most closely. And I think the interview with Lutnick, as well as our trip earlier this week to West Palm Beach and the hearing that Oversight Democrats had with survivors of these heinous crimes, really has demonstrated to me that we will have to open much of this back up, that we have to bring these individuals back when we take the majority in Congress, and there have to be real consequences for these lies, because these are crimes. I mean, whether you're under oath or not under oath, lying to Congress is a lie, and someone like Howard Lutnick has clearly done so over and over and over again.
I want to just stay on that one point that you made, because I was looking at the transcript today, that point where you ask, okay, in 2012, were you aware? And he says no. Now, at this time, this is a guy who's like sort of notorious and has a huge reputation and has moved next door and is a billionaire, and like people know, like they travel in similar circles. It's on the internet. Like that one is pretty tough and implausible, particularly when paired with the story that he told at length about his wife and him going over there, and Epstein saying an incredibly creepy thing about the massage room he keeps in his house. That, like, all combined, his testimony before your committee is that, like, no, never put the name into Google, like, knew nothing about it, right? That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that part was really heated in the moment, because I was so shocked that he said that. I mean, I think my expectation for some of these things, it's like when you've been caught so red-handed, or you've made a mistake in your life. Everybody does make mistakes, and maybe you made a bad judgment call. Just say that. I think it's really bizarre and raises so many more questions that he tries to claim that he didn't know. And again, I've said this many times, and I said it to him, I was like, I was a child then, and I heard about it. It was a kind of a tabloid thing. It was all over the news. I mean, everyone knew about this. So to say that you didn't know, you are so clearly lying. And again, this is now, I just feel like he's a pathological liar. He's digging himself deeper into a hole. I don't think he has any morals whatsoever, and I think he should be fired immediately for that.
On the sort of original sin here, which is that Acosta deal, right? I mean, the idea of someone getting a sweetheart deal that are connected. I have to ask about this news, and I'm not sure you saw it today, you're on the Oversight Committee, but about a billionaire indicted in the final days of the Biden administration, Indian billionaire Adani, who hired Trump's personal lawyer, made a presentation where they said why they think they have a case. It's Robert Jufer Jr., and then said we're going to, invest money in the U.S. and hire a bunch of people, $10 billion investment, and then has the case dismissed, which is a different shade than the sort of original sin that happened with Alex Acosta. But there's a sort of thematic connection here about like who gets justice and who doesn't.
Yeah, and let's talk about who's gotten justice and who hasn't. In West Palm Beach, we heard from girls, from women who were girls at the time, one of whom had never spoken like this publicly before, because the reason she was even there was because Pam Bondi failed to redact her name. And so when she botched the Epstein files release, this woman's entire life was exposed. Rosa, she had been trafficked through international modeling agencies. And these women still have not gotten justice because Alex Acosta did this insane sweetheart plea deal back in 2008 where they called these girls child prostitutes. And the women even said it themselves. They're like, is that even a thing? There's no such thing as a child prostitute. Right. And it's just so egregious that, again, Alex Acosta came before our committee and acted like that was a normal thing that he did, and there was nothing weird about that when it's all clearly a cover-up. And then you have people, who've committed vast crimes who are going to likely get pardons from this administration because of money and because of billions of dollars in corruption. And that is just the theme of this administration, is egregious and vast, endless corruption.
Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.